The first time we talked about Albert Einstein, he overturned classical mechanics from his desk. This time, we'll see how he created his masterpiece, where gravity bends light and predicts black holes. But there's also darkness, nuclear nightmares, FBI spies, and a secret briefcase that changed history. This isn't just science, it's a thriller. Part 1. Gravity's Grand Symphony. After toppling Newtonian physics with special relativity, Einstein turned his attention to gravity. Newton saw gravity as an invisible string connecting objects. Einstein, no! He believed gravity was all about geometry. Imagine space-time as a trampoline. The sun is a bowling ball making a dent. Earth is a marble rolling around that dent. There's no force pulling us down. It's just geometry. To test this idea, Einstein turned to the stars. He predicted that a massive object like the sun should warp space-time so much that it bends light. In 1919, an expedition set out to observe a solar eclipse to measure this effect. As the moon passes between the sun and Earth, it blocks out the sunlight, revealing the stars around it. And lo and behold, they noticed that some of the stars seemed to be in a different position than expected. Yes, they confirmed Einstein's prediction. Newspapers went wild. Newton wrong. Einstein right? They screamed. That was 100 years ago. And today, we know that Einstein's ideas are not just correct. They are essential. For example, did you know that your GPS depends on Einstein's work? Satellites orbit high above the Earth, where gravity is weaker. And thanks to Einstein, we know that means time runs faster for them. A second on a GPS satellite is about 45 microseconds longer than a second on Earth. Without accounting for that time difference with Einstein's math, your GPS would be off by 6 miles every day. That's enough to lead you to the wrong airport terminal. Part 2. The bomb and regrets. In 1939, scientists learned that Nazis might be close to building atomic bombs. Einstein, a Jewish refugee in America, wrote a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt warning that Nazis might build atomic weapons first. He suggested the US start its own nuclear research project. And with that, he kicked off the Manhattan Project. However, he wasn't invited to join the effort. You heard that right? The guy who predicted nuclear energy was unallowed to help make it happen because the FBI considered him too radical. While working at Princeton University, Einstein was placed under surveillance. They planted microphones in his house and tapped his phone calls. They even bugged the place next door. Why? Because J. Edgar Hoover feared that Einstein, with his radical views on civil rights and pacifism, might be a threat to national security or maybe even a Soviet spy. The news of Hiroshima devastated Einstein. He told a reporter, "I would rather have been a watchmaker." For the rest of his life, he worked tirelessly trying to ban nuclear weapons, but his warnings went unheard. He told the New York Times, "We have to learn to think in terms of the future because we are heading toward catastrophe." Part 3. Secret Life Uncovered. Now let's reveal some shocking secrets about Einstein's life that most people don't know. First, the FBI spied on him for 22 years. From 1920 to 1945, J. Edgar Hoover kept tabs on Einstein, convinced he was a Soviet spy. At one point, they even put a bug in his bathroom. After he finished, they had an entire room full of recordings. In total, the FBI spied on him for over 25 years. Finally, in 2010, 1,427 pages of files were declassified, shedding light on the extent of his surveillance. Next, he had a secret romance. After his divorce from his wife Mileva, Einstein started dating Margarita Konenkova. What's the catch? She was possibly a Soviet spy tasked with keeping tabs on Einstein. Their relationship raised eyebrows. People questioned how deeply Margarita was involved with the Communist Party and whether she had any romantic feelings for Einstein, or if it was all a carefully crafted plan. Part 4. The Unfinished Dream. In 1933, when Hitler came to power, Einstein fled to the United States and settled in Princeton, New Jersey. He continued his work on a new theory of gravity until his death in 1955. This theory was an unfinished symphony. He dedicated the last 30 years of his life to this pursuit. But what was this elusive theory all about? Einstein wanted to unite his theory of general relativity with the other forces of nature. These forces include electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. They govern everything from how magnets stick to fridges to how stars shine. Yet despite their diversity, Einstein believed they should all fit together in a single mathematical framework. His quest led him to explore areas like quantum mechanics, which describes the bizarre world of atoms and particles. However, he struggled to reconcile his theory with quantum mechanics. This conflict is like oil and water. His theory works flawlessly on a grand scale, explaining how galaxies move and black holes form. Quantum mechanics, on the other hand, reigns supreme in the microscopic world, governing the behavior of atoms and light. But when it comes to understanding the very small and the extremely big, they seem to contradict each other. One of his colleagues once said that Einstein's dream was to find beauty in equations. He wanted to find a grand unifying theory that could explain how the universe works from the tiniest atom to the largest galaxy. Even though he didn't live to see it, his work inspired many. Today, scientists are still working on ways to merge Einstein's theory with quantum mechanics. One approach is string theory, which suggests that the different forces of nature arise from tiny vibrating strings. Another avenue is loop quantum gravity, which discretizes space and time. These theories attempt to harmonize the contradictions between the very small and the very large. In the end, Einstein didn't finish his masterpiece, but that doesn't mean it wasn't important. His quest inspired generations of scientists and pushed the boundaries of human knowledge. Part 5. What really happened? So here's the deal. Einstein died in 1955. At his bedside were his son and daughter, along with Hans Bethe, a physicist who headed the theoretical division at Los Alamos during the Manhattan Project. But here's the twist. Who actually attended his funeral? You guessed it, Hans Bethe. Was it a coincidence that the man who kickstarted the atomic age was at Einstein's deathbed and at his funeral? Well, the answer might surprise you. You see, Einstein left behind more than just scientific theories. He left behind an enigma. While he helped kickstart the nuclear era, he spent his later years warning against its dangers. He called nuclear weapons the drunken lout of the future. Yet his presence at such a pivotal moment in history raises questions. Did he foresee the atomic age before anyone else? Or was he simply a brilliant scientist who understood the implications of his work? And here's another mind-blowing fact. When Einstein died, his brain was stolen. Pathologist Thomas Harvey removed the brain without telling anyone, including the family. He kept it in a jar filled with formaldehyde for 40 years. Can you imagine the controversy when they finally found it? Talk about a brain heist! Part 6. The legacy Albert Einstein wasn't perfect. He hated socks. He played the violin and drove a car without a license plate. And yes, his hair was real. Despite his quirks, his impact on science and the world is undeniable. He escaped Nazi persecution and shared his scientific insights freely. Even during World War II, he advocated for scientists worldwide to resist tyranny. His wisdom transcended the lab. He spoke about peace, equality, and the importance of questioning everything. As he famously said, never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. This means that sometimes it's best not to interfere when someone is in the middle of a bad decision. Let them continue, and that's a wrap. Which part of Einstein's story surprised you the most? Let's discuss in the comments. If you're eager for more fascinating tales, be sure to hit that like button. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious.